Peace, everybody that's coming on. In the divine name of the supreme being, I want to greet everyone with a civilized greeting in a very uncivilized time. Hotep, shalom, peace. What's good? What's popping? What it be? What it do? Whatever greeting you go by, wherever you are. Hopefully, you can elevate that greeting you go by, so we can raise the vibrational pitch into the thinking of God, Him and herself. Peace to Soleil, Tanya Johnson coming on. I know, don't give your government. I'm sorry. Peace to Soleil. Thanks to Alina. We got a special show. This is Professor Griff, of course, your host of Serious Minds RNTV. Please stop asking me what. I'm gonna say it one last time. RNTV is radio and TV. All right. So peace to everybody that's coming on. Peace to Ra, Harold. All right. Everybody here on. Peace to everybody. We got a special guest tonight. I'm gonna bring him on in a few minutes because we're not gonna waste no time, because we're gonna need every bit of this hour to go in. By the name of Black Dot, he wrote this book, Urban Culture Decoded. But before this one, he wrote Hip Hop Decoded. All right. Shifting. When it comes to, I can honestly say, when it came to technique as far as speaking, because he had a very unorthodox, kind of straightforward, in your face. Johnny Juice is on. Peace, Juice. I ain't seen you in a minute, bro. All right. Michael Muhammad, he had a very unorthodox kind of way of, he went straight at it. You understand what I'm saying? He even went back to pouring libations with him. It used to do a few other people, which is rare nowadays, because it seems like you see somebody taking a sip of something, you always want to condemn them or whatever y'all do. But anyway, while y'all guzzling shit back every other weekend, be cool with that. But anyway, we're gonna get them right on. We're not gonna waste any time. Let me just shout some more people out and get some more people on. If you're on here and you didn't tell somebody that you was coming on tonight, I'm gonna give you all a few minutes to let other people know that Black Dot is gonna be live tonight, answering some serious questions. We're gonna go over his book, Urban Culture Decoded. Week's show, we talked about, we went into the files. I hope y'all supported that brother and bought his comic book. All right, so I'm gonna turn this around in and just kind of go in. And just, I don't want to waste a whole bunch of time. I'm sure you're letting other people know, so we can begin to formulate some energy to send this brother's way. Peace to Kim. I'm waiting for John Trey, my man B Son. All right, Aisha Ron, a few other people. All right, John Trey, I see you. All right, my soldiers are signing on, so I'm good. So Black Dot, you ready to talk about this, man?
Let's get it. Let's get it. I appreciate the invite, and I'm excited to talk about it.
Oh, okay. Doing something really kind of different tonight. I got you up on the Facebook live screen. Yeah, me and Soleil kind of worked this out, so I'm doing it for the first time. So yeah, we're just gonna work it out. But give me a minute to kind of prep people, all right, and just kind of work our way into the subject. Is that cool?
That's cool.
While I'm doing that, I'm gonna go over some of the things I want to talk about. In the meantime, between time, for the people that don't know you, just give them a brief kind of synopsis on who Black Dot is, all right, and how you get to this point in doing what you do.
Peace. For those who don't know me, I am Brother Black Dot, born and raised in the Boogie Down Bronx, a couple of blocks away from Cedar Park. Immediately at the age of 10, fell in love with what became known as hip hop, and was able to watch it go through so many different stages, from hip hop to corporate rap to gangster rap to all the different phases. I fell in love and was a participant, signing the B-Boy records actually 30 years ago today, or what I'm saying, right around this time, wanting to actually, get down with KRS-One and follow that energy and represent the Bronx. But I didn't understand the business aspect. So once I started learning the business, I knew that the industry was far deeper than what it was being portrayed to be. So I decided to write about it. My first book, Hip Hop Decoded, from its ancient origins to its modern day matrix, was a book trying to uncover what was in everybody's face, but no one wanted to deal with.
Okay.
And it became an underground classic because it really dealt with a lot of issues from the physical, spiritual, and metaphysical standpoints of what music is and where our magic lies with our ability to create. traveled, was Tim Dog's hype man in the early 90s, met Professor Griff, who took a liking to my work and really pushed it to the people because I'm an introvert, so nobody would have ever known it was out. So Griff is responsible for that. And it led to Urban Culture Decoded, which is my new book, which is the one we're here to talk about today, and why I felt that that book was necessary to get to the people.
All right, let's just go in, man, and just let's do this rapid fire kind of thing and just give it to me however you want to give it to us. All right. Hip hop. What is hip hop?
Hip hop is the spiritual essence of how we use the principles that were laid out by our ancestors so that we can communicate with each other. So we're talking about a drum, we're talking about the vocals, we're talking about the body, which is the b-boy or beat girl, and we're talking about our ability to write down glyphs that can be read forward, backward, upward, down, which was the spiritual aspect because it required us to, those images went into our subconscious mind. Now, those are the four basic components that have always been readily available to us. Even when, slavery came about, we still had the drum. We turned that science into a gospel music, and then blues, and then scat music, and all of these different forms of music, because music is within us, and it is what allows us to heal ourselves, travel, all of these magical things. And in 1973, give or take, the Boogie Down Bronx became a place that was so desolate, and it became a prime place, in my humble opinion, to bring about the reemergence of these hip-hop. So hip-hop is nothing new. The drum, the dancer, the oracle, and the ability to make the unseen seen with certain glyphs is nothing new, but we call it hip-hop. So the current vibration of it is hip-hop, and that's what we use. When we use all of the elements, it's hip-hop. When we just use one here and there, that's rap music, and that's a whole nother subject, which we will talk about.
Can we use hip-hop in the educational system that we currently have today in order to steer young people in the right direction?
I believe we can. I believe we definitely can. And our children in particular, we don't learn in a linear perspective. So sitting in a classroom, fluorescent lighting with a dull teacher who doesn't understand our urban experience doesn't benefit us. It actually shuts our children down. So you might see a kid who's always tapping on a table. He might have to recite his homework. Then you get some who are great artists. We might have to let them draw their homework because it's within them, and they have certain components that they want to bring out.
Right.
And in the linear perspective, it's not African. We didn't sit in these boring classrooms. We went out and explored nature and explored life. We point to things around us, and that's how we learn. So forcing us to learn in such a linear perspective has shut down most of our children. That's why they're not interested, and they decide to drop out in most cases. Right.
So this book, Urban Decoded, I'm going to get real kind of nitpicky and kind of analytical.
Yes.
Urban culture decoded. What is culture? And then what is urban culture? And why did you feel the need to decode it?
Okay, I called the book Urban Culture because originally this book was supposed to be called The Parents and Teachers Guide to Understanding blah, blah, blah.
Right, I remember that.
And as I was writing it, I kept trying to make it and so I can get in the school system, and the ancestors said, this is not what you do. You know what I mean? So do what you do if you're going to present something to the people. So urban, we know, in essence, is our hood, our streets, how the environment that we grow up in and survive in, and culture is our way of life. Now, that way of life changes based on the environments we're in. If we're in the Amazon jungle, the culture there will require us to do certain things, the herbs, and how we meditate, and it's quiet. In the urban environment, the culture is a little different. We got hustlers, we got gangbangers, we got twerkers, we got business people, we got conscious people, we got Muslims. It's a melting pot. And in order for us to survive within that melting pot, we have to adjust and adapt certain things. And I felt it needed to be decoded because right in our face are certain aspects
Right. That was going to be my next question. Please briefly explain the cover. I see the urban environment. I see some records. I see some wax. I see a whole bunch of things on the cover. Just briefly explain the cover of the book.
Yeah. Well, I'm going to get right to the elephant. You know, our man Hannibal showed up in these foreign lands on elephants, scared the hell out of Europeans. So I wanted to kind of add that aspect to it as well, because we are in a foreign land, and it is us who are the modern day Hannibals who have to shut this piece down. Also, an elephant is synonymous for its memory. And I wanted to have our brothers and sisters remember who we are. You know what I'm saying? And if we have to use the music, that's why you see the wax and the music is in essence a way for us to remember who we are. Now, there's also a saying that says we need to deal with the elephant in the room,
right,
which is problems that we're facing that we act like we don't see. What I did was I put the elephant in a mirror, because the only elephant in the room is us. So the elephant is actually coming at you in a mirror. So let's not point the fingers at somebody else to deal with our issues. Let's deal with our own issues. So that's why I put the elephant in the room, and it's time to get busy. And we're the only ones who are going to be able to change the situation.
Okay, you put on a critical analysis into the physical, mental, and spiritual state of a new generation. What is it? A state of mind, state of being? That to us.
It's all of that above, because I noticed that this generation of young people is different than who we were. And it was easy to point the finger and call them savages and say that they had a pocket, but they are direct descendants of all descendants of us. And I had to really delve deeply to look into the environment that they came up into, which is a little bit different. The analog, they're digital. And I mean that in a literal and figurative sense. I have a chapter in the book on analog versus digital. The way we feel and synthesize things is different than the way they do.
Right.
Connected to my ancestors' pain and their struggle and being water holes and being gunned down and being lynched. So when I speak with the ancestors on my shoulders, so to speak. But this generation may have something to do with the crack era that came in, may have something to do with all these artificial foods. They're not necessarily connected like that. They want everything instantly, they want it now, and they don't necessarily associate with the past. So I noticed that they're basically a new being, so to speak. So I wanted to their mental, physical, and spiritual state, and let people know this is something new we're dealing with, so we can't use the old tactics to address it.
Right. Oh, okay, cool. On the back of the book, it says, warning, I will not apologize for what you are about to read. This book will not be conventional in the sense that it will try to provide political correct answers to the problems that we are facing in urban America. We must explore the unconventional methods, or at least view the situation from an unconventional standpoint, if we want to make any true breakthroughs. What is this unconventional approach that you're taking?
Well, when we start getting to the bullet points,
okay,
which is right below that, we'll delve into
all right, cool.
Some of the unconventional methods, but doing the same things. What I'm trying to say is, doing the same things and expecting a different result, we know that's a form of insanity.
Right.
So we have to begin to understand, for instance, I'm never promoting drugs. I don't get high, I don't promote it, but I do understand that whether I promote it or not, there are millions of people doing it. So I have to then look at it and say, since they're doing it, let me give them some locks, codes, and keys to let them know how to at least maybe have a spiritual transformation when they are having those moments, or at least understand that there are methods that we can use our alchemy, which is sex, music, drugs. These are alchemical processes, but when they're done habitually for no reason at all, they become habits that turn our people into a degenerate state. But our elders knew certain things and knew how to mix certain herbs and mushrooms to have certain experiences. So these are the unconventional methods that I think it's time to address if we want to get out of the current state that we're in.
Okay, so this whole idea of using drugs proceeds to pay for college education. That's very unconventional. So basically, the layman may not understand that alchemical formula. They may say, the average religious person watching this or online with us right now may say, man, that's crazy. I'm not selling no drugs to go to school. You understand what I'm saying? I'm not gonna work at the strip club at the same time I'm trying to get a college education. I'm not gonna pimp while I try to get, you know, some credits for my next class. Is it REEL or REAL?
The Russian mob sold drugs. The only difference is they didn't sell drugs to their own communities. So they would have a game plan in place. Again, I didn't create this. You know what I'm saying? So the mob and all of these other groups come, they sell drugs, and they take those proceeds and they funnel those proceeds into legitimate businesses. This is why their businesses are established and ours are not. So when I was looking at it, I looked at what's going on in Seattle and Portland and how they are now saying marijuana is legal. And now they have billions and billions of surplus. It's because what they have decided to do is say, okay, we're not promoting getting high, but since you guys are going to get high, we're going to tax you on it. The same way they tax alcohol, the same way they tax cigarettes, and it's your choice to decide if you want to destroy your life doing that or not, but there should be a price to pay. What I mean by that is this. If you was in the Italian we're going to take some of that, no matter what, you know what I mean? So why are we not approaching some of these so-called drug dealers with the Panthers and tax them so we can start legitimate businesses and things like that? The only problem is we act like these drug dealers ain't doing it all day. And some of them have just made the conscious choice that this is how they choose to live their life. But look at those two brothers standing next to you who don't want to sell drugs. But the only thing stopping them from maybe getting ahead of life is
right.
We all got mad visions and dreams, and the only thing stopping us is capital. We brilliant. So we need to start pressing some of these hustlers and saying, listen, you just dropped $100,000 on the stripper's floor, and that could have sent 3 kids to college. And
right.
if we don't take that approach, we're going to constantly be running in this cycle where we're getting high, killing ourselves, getting high, killing ourselves, and something has to be done. And I was only using the template set up by the mob, the Russian mob, the Jewish mob, to say, look how they did it. And we need to do something.
Right. So let me ask you something. So for the people that's just tuning in, this is Professor Griff on Serious Minds RNTV, and I'm interviewing Black Dot, the author of Hip Hop Decoded and now Urban Culture Decoded. Someone wants to know, I think it's Teresa Muhammad wants to know, where can she get the book?
The book can be gotten at Amazon.com or go directly to my website, idecoded.com. That's idecodeit.com. It's on the bottom. Yeah, there we go. idecoded.com. We'll hit you up and we'll get you there. And I appreciate the support.
Okay, give thanks. Next question. Can sex, drugs, alcohol, and music lead to spirituality? I'm gonna say that again. Can sex, drugs, alcohol, and music lead to spirituality? I want to put a twist to that question. Can all three happen in the same night and lead me to spirituality?
Oh man. Well, we already know the power of sex and the tantric sciences that our ancestors left behind. Our ancestors didn't do anything just to be doing it.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? There was always a purpose to everything our ancestors did. We have lost those sciences along the way, but yet we still participate in these things haphazardly without understanding the true power. So an orgasm, understood properly, can bring about that can make other things happen for you. If you and your wife are in tune, y'all can make some magical things happen. This is why even in relationships, women and men get caught into these relationships that are just sex-based.
Right.
It's because of the magic, when the synergy, when they get together, it's just magical. When we remove that, they may hate each other's guts. But when they hit those magic seconds, something just pops off. We understand drugs can alter your psychology and your the state, and we understand that even crackheads will tell you the very first time that they had a crack experience took them somewhere different, but that they spent the rest of their life trying to get there. Because they was doing it without any spiritual purpose and spiritual intent. So
right.
when you see us in a circle and when we're playing music and the bottle of spirits is going around, our ancestors didn't just do that to party. Some of them did, but there was always a purpose involved. So what I'm trying to convey to young people is do not sit around just getting high all day for no specific reason or tapping a bottle of spirits, because any habit you create is a habit. And it's not, you can only have that experience once, so to speak. Or, you know, if you're going to do it during a summer solstice or certain periods where you are in tune with what you're doing. So we're doing all the things that can bring about magic, but we don't understand the science of the magic.
Right.
And somebody else is tapping into that energy. That's why they always keep music. They always keep drugs around us. They always have us sexing and all of this kind of stuff for the very purpose that they know is still a certain amount of energy, but if we don't take advantage of it, they do.
Right,
so again, unconventional, but this is how my elders taught me, and what they taught me about sex, drugs, and alcohol, and music. Of course, we know what the power of that does. And we are the magicians. We're doing it, but we're doing it for somebody else's benefit.
Right.
Out.
I'm gonna ask this next question, but I'm gonna kind of put a twist on it. The divinity of hip hop versus corporation of rap. First, explain the difference between rap and hip hop, and then dive into that question.
Okay, in my humble opinion, as we broke down the components of hip hop and how we all possess the ability to use those components of the mic, the drum, which is the heartbeat, the vocals, the body. We created external devices outside of ourselves based on the environment that we live in. So that's what came when the two records came and the DJ would suspend them, or that's when the microphones and the drum machines came about. And we were participating in something that was innate within us to bring about a social change, an economic change, a spiritual change. Rap, on the other hand, and I also feel that hip-hop is for the people, by the people. And what I mean by that is when Public Enemy comes out to speak, they are representing the people and the people in their environment. If we have a problem with them, we have to come directly to Public Enemy and say, listen, y'all out of pocket for this, or so forth and so on. Rap, on the other hand, is co-signed by corporations. So if I have a $2 million deal with Sprite, and I want to come out and speak on the issues involving my community and Trayvon Martin and this and that, and they tell me I cannot, then I am handcuffed because I am afraid to lose that $2 million deal.
Right.
And that's between corporations have taken rap over and given all of these hustlers deals and put them in pocket, so they no longer can come out and represent the people. I'm hip hop. So the only people I ask to do is the hip hop community. The only people that pay me is the hip hop community. That doesn't mean our great hip hop artists can't get a little bit of corporate change from time to time, but we know when they stand when all the smoke clears, because they constantly demonstrate that they are for a lot of people. But if Sprite only, I gotta sit back and allow my community to do what they do, and that's the difference between the divinity of hip hop, which you don't need no money to do, and you do because it's something spiritual and you empower your people, and the corporations of rap, where they're signing these little bubblegum rappers and these mumble rappers and jingle rappers and putting a lot of money in their pocket to dumb down our culture so that we never gain full access of our spiritual potential within hip hop.
I was hearing all this body Nicki Minaj. I'm like, damn, for real? So I went to hear it, and I'm like, okay, what you just gave us, would Remy Ma represent Minaj represent the corporation of rap?
In the next generation. Well, I heard it do.
That would be real, to put it in sense, because Remy Ma has been around for a very long time, and you know what I'm saying? This is what Nicki Minaj represents for the Barbies and some of the music that
Right.
You
All
know,
right.
I Hennessy now and shit. So I'm like, I don't know where to draw the line at now. You know what I mean?
Right. The connection between the barbershop, the liquor store, and the church. Now you know I got to ask you some other questions as you give this answer. What's the connection?
Well, I was looking at how we spend our time in our neighborhoods. On Fridays, we get paid. We go to the barbershop. And the barbershop is a very sacred place for us.
Right.
Because it taps into the very spirit of the people. So you have entrepreneurs in there, you have OG hustlers in there, you got scammers in there. It's so much going on, but for a young man who maybe doesn't have his father in his life, the barbershop becomes that central place where he can get tutelage. You know what I'm saying? So the spirit of the people is, you get a gauge of the spirit of the people. Now on Saturday, after we get our hair cut, we go to the liquor store and we go cop a bottle of spirits. You see what I'm saying? And that's why they call it a bottle of spirits. And we want to party and we want to celebrate. Now that bottle of spirits can be positive or negative. It only heightens your own temperament. So if you grab the wrong bottle and you tap it in, if you're depressed, that bottle of spirits is only going to tap into that depressed energy. And then on Sunday, we go to church to try to redeem our spirit. You know what I mean? So the spiritual underlying process is all there within the church. You know, the barbershop, the liquor store, and the church. All of them three represent something that go on, especially when people work 9 to 5, and Friday is their free day, and Saturday they spirits to water down and because they're depressed because of the situation they're in, and then Sunday they go put on a suit and try to ask God to redeem their spirit, and it becomes a rat race. But the underlying spirit of it all is right there within them three components. You can learn all you need to know within those three components about our community.
Now I wrote some notes down about the church. You said on page 79, as I was reading your book, the ceremony, dance, and the word of God served as a launching pad of the spirit. Unfortunately, most churches today spirit raisers, but the spirit catchers. Damn. What does that mean?
Because it's taking your energy that you release with the song, you got the organ playing, you got the music, and all of these things are ceremonial. You know what I'm saying? And we begin to release that energy and it's instead of to free ourselves as just being captive in those environments to continue to empower the goddamn reverend. This is why the reverend is the only one with power, and right outside the church is completely desolate. So you got to be careful who you decide you open yourself up to. And these the way they're built with so that the end is almost infinity. You know what I'm saying? With the cross at the top, and all that energy is being raised up, and someone else is benefiting off that energy. So these are not the spirit. These are the spirit catchers.
Spirit catchers. Okay. This next one's going to be touchy for the sisters, so we're going to approach this with caution. Do I need to get some water or get my heat? Okay. To twerk or not to twerk? That is the question. Or should there even be a question?
That's a good point. Again, I want to preface what I'm saying to the sisters and everybody in general. These are not necessarily my personal opinions. These are the findings and to study this generation and what was important to them. And I noticed that money rules all in this particular generation, and how you get your money is never looked upon in a negative sense to this particular generation. We had what was called morals and things of that nature, and it's just certain things I'm not going to do no matter what they're paying or how much money they're offering. That's not necessarily the case with this generation. So because this is a capitalist society that we live in, it used to be a time when sisters would strip quietly to get the money, to go to college, to making so much money, stripping that college is no longer. You want to tell a sister, hear me out, go to college 4 years and come out and make $50,000 struggling when you can make that in a weekend if you with the right hustlers and ballers. Now, what has tied all of that in is that our athletes and rappers have now decided to uphold the stripper or the trucker in such a grand scale that it has made a lot of our young sisters get body parts hooked up, this and that, for the sole purpose of trying to catch them a baller. It used to be when I grew up, you didn't bring those strippers home. You wasn't proud of that. You know what I mean? You wasn't bringing cinnamon home to be like, yo. Now these guys, we live in bizarro world. So the more guys that have run through a system, the more they want the sister, and the more they want to hold the sister up. So you got young brothers out here confused on who they should be pursuing. So all I was doing was saying, if money is the bottom line,
right?
And I'll tell a sister who has a banging body, and remember, the internet now has also changed the game. So all these likes, as Chuck D said, attention is the new currency.
Right.
So if a sister doesn't have a positive male role model at home, a father, an older brother, and she's getting 80,000, 100,000, 20,000 likes on her Instagram page, these likes charge her. They validate that what she's doing has some value to it. And then all of a sudden, in her DM, famous basketball players like, hey, sis, and now she's being treated like royalty. And who am I to tell her that that's out of pocket when everything around us says get money, get money, get money, so no longer included. So I noticed that these sisters are just taking advantage of a situation, an opportunity that's there, and I don't condone it, but I'm just simply saying, when I did the research, these sisters are straight up saying, listen, I'm making 100,000, and I sleep all day, and then you watch your parents who get up, work all week, struggle, they got a bed for a week vacation on their job, and this and that, and nobody wants that life, not this generation. This generation is microwave. They want their money now, and they would rather ball out for 5 years and burn out and die than to sit on a plantation and work 40 years, and they give you a watch at the end of the day. So I was examining. It's a great article for sisters and brothers to read so that we can get into the mindset of how these young girls in this generation.
That's right. I think a lot of times the thing that makes people think that they're doing a certain particular kind of work on a conscious level is how many memes they can formulate and put together to get likes. How many hits and views they get on a YouTube clip. And that doesn't determine that. Siddiqui Bakari from the West Coast in place, and I think it sounds a little bit something like this. If you're going to call yourself conscious and you're in the conscious community doing lectures and this kind of thing, we just want to ask you, who are your elders? Who are you answering to, so to speak? Who are you tapped into? Who are your teachers? When I was coming up in the 5% nation of gods and earths, I had an enlightenment. I couldn't just do what I wanted to do.
Absolutely, me too. Same here.
I had to answer to that individual. And if somebody told that individual, I'm up on the block doing something I'm not supposed to be doing, I got dealt with, man.
And even in the drug community, remember, before crack came in, you couldn't treat drugs. You had to be taught the science of selling drugs, if that even makes sense. So the elders would take you on and teach you the ways of the streets. You know what I mean? Which is 3 o'clock. No drugs was sold in my neighborhood.
Right.
Sold pregnant women. There were rules and etiquettes in place. When crack came in and everybody opened up a crack shop on every corner, all the rules, when nobody was answering to anybody. As a result, we were sitting there killing each other. Go watch your favorite Marvel. You can't just clap somebody. You have to get up to clap somebody. You got to go to the big homie and say, listen, we got a problem here.
Right.
And the big homie would decide that this guy, when crack came in, and everybody had a crack starter kit on every other corner, the result of it was chaos and mayhem in our hood. And as a result, it has now trickled down to what is called community, where you got people who say, so no, this whole kind of you don't have the answer. I've seen you on a number of occasions. If you got into anything, the first thing you did was consult the elders.
Right, exactly.
That's called protocol.
Right.
I've done the same thing. Let's consult my elders. I got an issue. How should I go about this? And that's the protocol. These guys ain't answering to nobody. They're watching 150 YouTube clips, calling themselves this and that, stepping on the scene, and it has caused major chaos in our community.
Right, exactly. I'm gonna save this next question for last, but this other question I want to ask: the protocols of urban economics. I hear a lot of people shows that come on Facebook Live and economics, finances. We need to do this. We need a plan. Blah 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 blah. And I rarely hear them mention Claude Anderson. I hear him more than I hear Elijah Muhammad. And Elijah Muhammad showed us how to do it. Not only did he talk about, he showed us. And I'm hearing all these people with this plan. They talking about buying this and acquiring that, and I hear it, but I don't see it. So when you talk about the protocols of the urban economics, what do you mean?
Well, again, I was trying to look at an unconventional method to reach the required or acquired results. And what I mean by that is this. Every time we talk about we need to boycott a company, it never works. It's because too many people have too many agendas, and I got to get to work, and I got to do this, and I'm not doing that. So the boycott never really works. You know what I'm saying? And I think it doesn't work because the approach that we're taking is wrong. And I don't promote Pepsi or Coke, but if we decided to single out a company at a time that we decided collectively we're not going to do business with, what happens is if you want to get your gas, just don't get your gas from Exxon. We're going to get our gas from Mobil. And what that does is, with all the social media outlets we have, we can easily decide that Exxon is the target right now. And I guarantee you, in 30 days, if enough people say, listen, you can still get to work, but we saying don't get your gas from Exxon. In 30 days. It's not, we're going to do it, but it's still a little bit more, so that we would have a little bit more chance of reaching those required results. So if you drink Pepsi, goddamn it, drink Coke, because Pepsi is the target now. If you get gas from Exxon, we're going to get the gas from Mobil. If you get your toys from Walmart, we get them from Toys R Us. And I think that would have people more engaged to boycott something because it's not affecting their everyday life. I had to build that in because it's hard to get people not to buy gas, and they got that. But it's easier to tell them just drive 2 more blocks, you know what I'm saying, to get your gas, and we still can begin to have show our economic power. So this is what I mean by the protocols for, economics. In that sense, it's a guerrilla tactic. But listen, we can do the same thing with rappers. Oh, this rapper disrespecting black women. Nobody mentioned, nobody tweet, nobody ever mentioned this particular rapper again. Simple as that. We don't want to hear their name because that's where they empower themselves. And we can start lining these rappers up. We can line them all up because we're the people with power. And this social media, we sitting around pussyfooting with it, but it's a device all can take advantage of it. Along with the CIA, you know what's going on with that. But we have the ability to take full advantage of this situation too, and I just think we're not taking full advantage. So I want us to boycott, but you can't boycott the whole world and start let's create a list. How they do it is create the list and say these are the items that we're boycotting and provide us an alternative item that we can use. Now, these people are coming next. Once they see us collapse these fuckers, excuse my friends, then they know that they're going to have to get lined up, but we have to have something in place that we want. We can't just do it without saying, this is what we want. We want high paying jobs. We want executive positions within these companies. We want schools built. We have to have a whole game plan laid out because once we start, it don't stop.
Right. Louis Muhammad says selective buying. If you can't boycott the only toilet tissue company because you ain't gonna have nothing to wipe your ass with. It's like if you don't have the alternative, it's just gonna be some stopped up people using leaves or whatever the hell. I'm just saying. Next question. Is rap this generation's savior? Or do we even have the Savior complex? Are we waiting for Jesus to come back, or Buddha, or?
Well, I've never seen that so many young people in my day want to be rappers. I've never seen nothing like this in all of my days. I've only been on the planet 49 years, but I've never seen nothing like this, where all we be doing is playing ball, hustling, and rappers. And there's so many other things that we can do. We have so many other gifts, but the easiest way out of the hood in this particular day and time is to put together 16 bars, because society is rewarding that more so than anything else. Now, they're rewarding it because it benefits them, because it keeps us blind, deaf, and dumb to the potential that we truly have. So the money ain't worth the paper it's printed on. We already know that. So they can pay Young Yachty and Uzi Vert and all these dudes all of the money they need, put them on ESPN and all of this kind of stuff. And what it says to the next generation of, I go to school.
Right.
Why further educate myself? And when I'm talking about going to school, I know there's super conscious people on the line with education, this and that. But still, if you want to go to school to learn a specific skill set like economics or this and that, the school system can work for you. Now, if you just want to school to be indoctrinated and have them fill things in you, of course we don't want that. Right. But at the same time, there are opportunities available for us. There are so many jobs available in coding, computer coding and graphics. They can't even fill it because we haven't qualified ourselves in those realms, because we got all of these people. I know 50-year-old guys who still got a mixtape in their pocket. And they have a mixtape in their pocket for 30 years talking about they trying to come up. Listen, it's over for you. You have to move on to the next phase of your life. Doesn't mean you cannot love music. I'm always going to love music.
Right.
But these guys are putting all of their eggs into this basket, because one hot song and you can make $1 million in this particular day and time. So why go to the school, educate yourself, get up all of these early mornings, do all of that, when I can sit at home, puff some weed, and write in L16, and my economic status changes forever. So when the next generation sees that, that's all they want to do is be a rapper, a baller, or a hustler, or all three.
Right. I keep seeing this come up. I think a couple of people from Baltimore or the Maryland area put this up. They said freedom toilet paper, and then we should go to buyblack365.com. Buyblack365.com and freedom toilet paper. The thing that killed me was the fact that I was in the store the other day, toilet paper. I'm like, how does that work? I don't even.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. My other question, and this is kind of touchy, and I'm trying to figure out the best way to approach this. The LGBTQ in the urban community. As far as decoding urban culture, what role do they play? And then more importantly, not more importantly, equally as important, what role shouldn't they not play?
Wow, Griff. Well, what I did was, let me get to it now. Do you know what page that song? Oh, I see. 175.
Yeah.
What I did was, just to start it off on the right foot, I opened up the chapter by saying, here are my personal thoughts about the lesbian, bisexual, gay, and transgender lifestyle in the urban community, and the next 5 pages are blank. Because my personal opinion is not going to change the current state that we're in.
Right.
So we're dealing with the elephant in the room. It is this. They are here. We had an opportunity to maybe draw the line on what we were going to accept in our community and what we were not going to accept, and we didn't draw the line. We let it start permeating in every aspect of our life, from the rappers to the athletes, the movie stars, to now it's in the cartoons blatantly. So now it is flooding our community, and now we're trying to stop the dam, so to speak, and it's a bursting of energy that has already been here. So now it's here. So we have to find a way to address it. What I mean by that is, and I wrote in the book, either somebody you go to school with, somebody you play ball with, doesn't, somebody within your circle is gay, I'm willing to put my life on it. That's how far it has. Look at what's happening in the hip hop community with Africa Bambaataa and all this other kind of stuff. So we know it's here. And I also mentioned in the book, because I'm dealing with, if a mother's job is to protect her cubbies at all times, and she finds out her daughter is gay, she is not going to oust her daughter. Her daughter will supersede that. My love for my son, if he was gay, would supersede that. No different than if your daughter was a prostitute. You may not agree with that lifestyle, but first and foremost, that is your daughter. So we have a unique situation in our hood now. Family members, we have people all around us, some down low brothers, the dudes coming home from jail doing long stints, who have picked up some habits, who are victims, and then they turn around and now they're victimizing young people to get into the Hollywood scene. You know how they get down to there. So I created the term gay-tanic because it's not necessarily satanic. They don't consider themselves gay, but they will perform these gay acts to be accepted within these circles. There are so many components. There's the religious components with the priests. So this is a way of life for European people in particular. And if we are taking on a European mindset, we're going to have to deal with the after effects of that, because it has been taught to me by my elders that this is their way of life. This is not our way of life, but this is why sometimes the judge don't even give the pedophile no time anymore. You know what I'm saying? Some of these cases you see going on where the judge is sending dudes home, or these dudes are sleeping with animals, and it's legal in 27 states in this country to bang out a horse. You know what I'm saying? Why? Because they know deep down inside that's their culture, and their culture can't stay hidden for long. So now their culture is surfacing to the top, and we're caught in that whirlwind because we have abandoned our African ways, and now we have a situation on our hand where we got to deal with it. And I don't know the answers of how we deal with it, but we have to deal with it from a human perspective. But don't tell me this is natural. Tell me it's normal now, but not natural.
Right.
Like microwave food is normal, but that shit ain't natural.
Right.
Even using this goddamn junk is normal, but it's not natural. And that's where we have to draw the line. But we can't just draw a line now and say, I'm at war with every gay person in the community. Now, we do know this. There's a part of the community that do the herbs, not the herbs, do pesticides, food poisonings, and even the music now is what I'm understanding in certain components that people have become victims of this. And then there's the agenda.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Which, the Europeans are trying to impose their agenda on future generations. And that's the problem that we're dealing with now. And I don't have all the answers, but I wanted to deal with the elephant in the room and say, if my son is gay, I don't approve of that lifestyle, even though he's my son, but I'm going to love him because he's my son, and I'm going to try my best to get to an understanding and get him the help that he needs, because obviously he needs some kind of help if he feels that he can survive on this planet without the black woman by his side.
Right. So let me ask you something. Your son has a show. He talks about sports, right? And they got like sneakers. Like I don't put any energy into like my sneakers. I'm wearing blue because I'm representing the throat chakra tonight, but I don't have sneakers to match my shit. I just don't. I got some Timbs, but I don't have a sneaker game. So explain that, man. I'm not. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't have a sneaker game either. We'll deal with the ESPN effect. The ESPN effect has turned a lot of these young people into uncoachable kids. Now, I used to coach youth sports, and the coach had a certain amount of respect from the young people. You can teach them the principles of the game. ESPN has been putting highlights up of 12-year-old kids now. So now kids are trying to be more on a highlight skill to learn the basic aspects of the sport. And it's making it very hard for coaches. Now, a coach, especially in the urban community, you're more than just a basketball coach or a baseball coach. You're probably the father figure to a lot of these kids.
Right.
So you can coach to also teach them about life. Get you to set a goddamn path. Because ESPN got you thinking you a star and you want to know where your ranking is and this and that. So the ESPN effect has destroyed the urban coach to a certain degree because he no longer has power. ESPN has that power. Now, in terms of the sneakers,
right.
I've never had a sneaker game either. You know, I've never owned a pair of Jordans, ever. Now, as a kid, I couldn't afford them. And then when I got older, I could afford them. You know what I mean? But what I decided to do, again, was remove my personal feelings about these kids standing in line for hours at a time and just observe them and talk to them. And then I know symbolically, as we understand, you know, a certain aspect, everything symbolically represents something else. So the shoes represent their ability to travel, even if it's just in their hood, and they feel that they were in an upward mobility state, even though they're never going to leave this particular hood. So your shoes, you know, just represent the ability for you to be in an upward state, so to speak. So they're willing to stay in line for hours at a time to get those latest sneakers because it kind of represents that they're on the come up. Now, we don't talk about, we don't care about white men who own 50 watches or 50 paintings. Now we have a lot of young people who have gotten into the art of sneaker collections, and there is value to it. I was reading about one dude who had so many sneakers that when he got married, he was able to cash them in and buy a house for him and his wife. So these guys, if you keep them fresh, and there is a collector's value to it. So for those who do that, I may not completely understand, but it's not for me to understand. This is a young man's thing for the most part. Even though a lot of these 50-year-old guys are doing that as well, they have to begin to let that go and allow the young people to take that over. But there is value in it. So when I wrote in my book, there is value in sneakers if you want to look at it from a different perspective. But I'm not waiting in line for nothing. I wear Skechers.
I don't even know if I can't go to that degree, but I'm good.
Check this out. Let me explain to you. These Skechers are very comfortable. Nobody is, I don't have to wait in line 3 days for them. Ain't nobody got the ratchet when I come out of the store. These Skechers. And with Skechers, you buy one when you get one. So I'm coming out the store with 4 pairs. My kids teach me to this day, Dad, you wear Skechers. I'm like, yeah, I got on Skechers. At some point, as a 49-year-old man, I should be your son.
Right.
Trying to explain this to him. There should be a line drawn somewhere, and I have drawn the line at Skechers.
Okay. I meant to have a gay moment. I heard you had a gay moment. I wanted to ask you that when we were talking about the LGBTQ. Can you tell us about your gay moment?
I'll tell a story. You know, I jumped in the shower one night and there was no soap. Had to get out of the tub and, you know, but my wife had her wash sitting right there, you know, want the crystal beads in it and, you know, makes you explode inside. And I made a gay choice. I could have got out of the tub, you know, slipped on the floor or something, got a bar soap. Or I could have said, hey, I'm going to have a gay moment. So I came out of the bathroom smelling like strawberries, mangoes, and I kind of felt all right. So that's my gay moment.
For the few minutes we have left, tell people where can they get your book, Urban Decoded and Hip Hop Decoded.
Amazon.com. You can always find my stuff. I Decoded, like Griff showed on the back of the book, idecoded.com. You can get this book. I appreciate your support. What I have been doing, and I started a video series where I'm actually reading excerpts from the book So you're going to be seeing a lot of that coming because this generation doesn't read the way our generation reads. So I got to add some visuals into it. So look out for it. It's gonna be something conventional where I might have a rap hook in a song, but instead of doing a rap verse, I pick up the book and read a verse, and then go back to the hook in the song, trying to keep it hip hop, but keep it where the brothers and sisters can get the information, and that's what's going on with that.
Okay. Any lectures coming up anywhere people can physically see you? I know I wanted to do that thing with you on August 26th in the ATL. I'm gonna see if I can make that happen with Aisha Ra and some other people.
Only person I do lectures for is Professor Griff for the most part.
All right, I'm gonna hook it up then. I'm gonna hook it up so we can make it happen.
I'll come through. Other than that, if you know me, I'm an introvert. I really know I love people, but it is what it is. I enjoy my own company. You know what I mean? So if people call and I feel they're genuine, come out and I'll speak to the people and just give my insight. This is just my insight. I ain't got no school, no temple, none of that kind of stuff. This is just the way I perceive our culture and hip hop. And I love when an audience is available for me to share that kind of information.
Right. So I want to let the people know I will be at the at Black World Books, 500 Street, Suite 504 in Killeen, Texas. Places like Killeen and other places, they really need us, man. You understand what I'm saying? Because they don't get this. So I'll be there on Saturday and Sunday on March 18th and March 19th in Killeen, Texas. I'm also gonna be in Indianapolis. Now wait a minute, Indianapolis, man. I said to myself, last time I've been there, it was too damn cold. Yo, snow didn't even want to be there, man. It was so damn cold.
Wow.
But I'm gonna be there in April. That's April 1st.
Aren't you here March 26th?
March 26th is Nicholas, Brooklyn.
At Nicholas, Brooklyn. Okay,
Right.
I'm gonna come through and see you.
Can you come through and open up for me? Because I'm dealing with symbology, man, and it was you that opened that up for me. So yeah.
Absolutely, I'll be there.
All right. If no one else was to ever see you or hear from you again, what would be your last words to leave with the people?
My last words would be: listen, it's all on us. Let the victim consciousness go. We can't blame anybody else for our situation. We have to step forward, put ourselves in this situation as a collective, and we have to get ourselves out of this situation because our ancestors are depending on us to get this done. The only reason they exist, as my man said in the movie, I forget, because we're standing here now, all of the ancestors that ever came before us, and it's our duty to make sure that their lives didn't go in vain. So let's get this work done. Black power.
Oh, give thanks. That was Black Dot, the author of Urban Culture Decoded. All right. You can go to idecoded.com in order to order his book. He also has Hip Hop Decoded. All right. Black Dot. It's Professor Griff from Serious Minds, RNTV. And we thank you very much for spending this hour with us, man. We love you to life, good brother.
Love you to life, brother.
All right. Peace, man. Peace. That was Black Dot, y'all. So I'm going to close this out by letting people know that tune in next week. I'm trying to pinpoint some authors, some brothers and sisters in the community that's doing some things. So if you know some people that's doing some things, there's probably a publisher or author doing some things. I'd rather highlight them than to kind of talk about what's in the news. I already do that on my next show I'm about to do in about an hour with Brother Rich. All right. So I thank y'all very much for tuning in. Peace, Soleil, and the rest of y'all. Hadia, peace. It's Professor Griff. I'm signing out. Revolution is not an event. It's a process. I'll see y'all during the process. Peace. Everybody on Google Hangout. Peace. Y'all take care, man. Love y'all. Out.